Hello guys and welcome to the sixth video in this series. In this video we'll be looking at tables, how to create tables in HTML. So I'm just going to come here. It says tables.html. Right. So how do we create tables in HTML? Actually quite easy. We use the table tag, but there are some caveats, should I say caveats, that you need to know about it. A table is a tag on its own, and then you need to divide it into rows and cells, or rows and columns, if you may, but actually rows and cells. So to do that, this is an example of a syntax. So I'm just going to copy this syntax and then I'll explain. Okay, no, instead of copying the syntax and explaining, let me just show you guys how to do it. This is going to be 06, that's tables. Let me correct this. Let me correct this here. So tables.html. So tables.html. Alright. So it should be empty. Add this and then 06 tables. Now it's no longer, it's still empty anyway. Now how would you create table? I'm going to go to Google and just search for a, let's say, food table. I'm going to work with that so you can see. I need something simple, not something this long. Oh, class timetable. How about that? Just need something simple. What is it? A bit of headache for me. Okay, I'm going to let's look at this. Let's look at how that works. Okay, so we have okay now looking at this table, you see we have time. We have time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we have the times on this side, which is actually not how I'm used to my timetable. I mean, I'm used to my timetables. The days being on the left here, this column, and the time being on this row here. I'm used to that. So I'm going to, apologies to you guys, I'm just going to have to look for something that's I'm used to. Ah, that is. All right, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead with this, and then I'll post this on the group for you guys to try to, work out. So you guys will actually finish it up as an assessment, but I'm just going to show put this here. So I'm not going to put this here. I'm just going to go over here. Oh, not over. I'm going to give. Did I not save this before? What's going on? Okay, now. So now, how would I do that? How would I do this? Right. So let's just start up. Let's start with Steve saying, it's an H1 that says class timetable, right? So we have this, and then now to start with the tag, first of all you have to start with the table tag, which is the entirety of the table itself. Okay, so I'm going to just use this tag here. Now this tag on its own does nothing, I mean, other than prepare you to start doing the table and creating the context of the table. As you see, we don't have anything here. I then have to start putting my tags. Now tables are divided into rows and then cells inside the row. For example, this is a row: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 rows is a bit much. Just to mention that I actually need something that spans across multiple. But anyway, I'm gonna just go with it now. So we have 13 rows here. Now, how would you create a row? You use TR, that sets the stage for you to create a row. So since I have 13 rows here, I can just create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 rows. But then coming back here, we still get nothing, right? It still shows up nothing. I can come in here. I'm just going to give an example and say Monday here, and then we get this, right? And then in this one, I put Tuesday, and then now you see we are still on the same line, which shouldn't actually be happening. The reason is because I'm not actually done with the table properly. So I'm going to remove that. So in each row, and I have 13 rows here. And another thing is, if this is, since we have a number of rows and it might get confused, I advise you just add a comment that says row 1, to separate it for you so you're able to know which is which. Row 2, I'm going to just do up to row 3. I'll leave the rest for you guys to finish up. So this is row 3. The comments as usually are not going to show, but then inside each row, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells, right? And now to create these cells, you use TD, which is table data. Now, and the TD goes into the TR, so this is TD, right? So in here, this is one TD for this one, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since I have 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. But even after saving that, nothing here is still going to change because I've not really added any information here. I've not added any data here. So I'm going to come here, give the first one time, and then save this and come back here. Now you see we get time here. So the second one is then going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So when I save this, I come back here. Now you see we have this. But then you notice there's also something else. There are no lines that actually show this is the table. To any observer, this just looks like a paragraph. You can add, normally you add your the lines with CSS, but you can do that with HTML. Simple way to do that with HTML is by adding the border attribute. There's 1 pixel solid. Hold on, that should. Uh, all right, I think I'm making up a mistake here. Let me try and find out where my mistake is coming from. Let me try to get where my error is coming from. So let's see. This is actually done with CSS. I don't want the CSS. I want the HTML, but sure. Alright, I'm just going to go to Google. This is how I actually work. So HTML border. So that HTML border. No, add border to HTML table. Oh, I didn't actually add table initially. No, not style. I don't want style. I want the HTML. Okay, this is it. Border equals 1. So I guess that was the mistake I was making. That's still not working. Hold on, I'm going to copy this and see how this fares against mine. So let's see. Could it be because I haven't added the rest of the... Yeah, I guessed as much. It's because I haven't added the rest of the content. So we have 1, 2. I'm going to remove this, which isn't going to really change much. And then I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to comment this out so it's able to work. Still not working now. What mistake am I making here? We have the TR, then we have the TR, and then we have the TD. Oh, Christ. My mistake was this. I'm adding the border to the body. It's not supposed to be in the body. Let me just add all of this back. That was where my mistake is. So my border is supposed to be in table, not in body. So put it back in the border, then one. Now it's working. Wow. So now we get our borders on each of them, right? And we are basically getting somewhere. Okay, basically getting somewhere. This is good. This is good. So that's it for that. And then to get to the next row, which is this 850 to 955. Remember, this is on the second row. So I do not add it in this first row. I go to the second row and start to add it. Another thing I did mention, so I might as well just mention it right now. Since this particular section of the table is actually a heading, I'm not going to use TD here. I'm going to use TH like it's used here. See. Rather than you see TR instead of TD like here we are using TH. TH is just simply means table heading. So I'm going to come back here and change this to TH. So I'm going to select everything there so I can work. I can just change everything at the same time. So we have TH. And now you see that this is actually kind of bold. But then one thing you should also know about tables are they work like inline elements, especially the table data and table heading content. They are only as big as the content they have. You can also work on it to have a specific width though. You can't do that. Well, I'm not going to maybe I'll go into that later though. So now to go into the next one, which is also how many? 6. I'm just going to create TD, multiply that by 6, and then we get this. And let's look at what we have there. The first one says the first one is 850 to 905. And then we have mental maths slash tables. That's actually hilarious. Which is the same thing we actually have for all the days of the week. So the first thing they do is mental maths. I mean, you get to school and the first thing you have to start fighting is mental maths. You don't even care if you are mentally balanced enough yet. But this is only crammed because of the width of the screen. If I put this on full screen, you see it's no longer cramped. Okay, so let me put it back here. So put this here. All right, so that's it for the second one. Now to go for the third row, same process applies. I'm going to just come here, in here, click the TD, and then in fact, let me just shorten my time period. TD multiplied by 6. So this is going to be 905 up to 935. 935. Then what's Kelly or George? I'm not pronouncing this well. I don't know what it is. AEILGE. This is also a good time to just show you something else. Okay. So in this case, Monday and Tuesday basically have the same thing, right? Yeah, at 905 to 935. You can do that. You can put this on these two Monday and Tuesday by doing this process. There's something called there's an attribute called code span and row span. All right, since this is a row, I want this to span 2 rows. I'm going to first of all remove 1 row here because this thing is going to be spanning 2 rows. So it's going to become shorter because now there's an extra row that is missing here, but we'll work on that. So in my TD here, I had an attribute called row span, and then I add the number of rows I wanted to span. Since I wanted to span 2 rows, I'm just going to write 2 here. No, not row span, sorry, that would be co-span. Co-span. So I wanted to span 2 columns. So this is column 1, this is column 2. I see now it spans 2 columns, this, and then we still have this other ones here. I'm just going to fill this on with some random things here like SAS, English, and the likes. So we have SAS, we have English, we have as social interaction. Alright, interaction. So now we get this. So I'm just going to do one more row. The reason I want to do one more row is to actually explain how we can also create row span. So this is row 4. For the row 4, we're going to do the same thing. TD multiplied by 6. And then for that one, we have 935 to 940. 935 to 940. And then we have maths. Now the rest, no, we have ruler. I don't know what that is. We have that for all the others too. We have that for all the others too. So I'm just going to say ruler, music, visual, visual arts. So let me come here so you can see as I'm looking at it. So visual arts, we have English. Now let's assume this social interaction is the same time for it's also on Friday. No, on Friday it's 2 periods on Friday. So we have it from 9:05 to 9:40, right? So I can still come here and write social interaction, which still works. I mean, it still works. But then there's another way of doing it. That's by using the row span. So I'm going to delete this, which creates this empty space right here. Then I'll come to this row here, this table data here, add a row span and tell it to span 2 rows. Now you see it covers for there. And the reason why I'm getting this extra space is because of the rest of the table rules that I have done nothing there. So removing this closes up that gap. So anyway, that's it about tables in HTML. I'll see you guys in the next one.